Hey everyone, it's Jill, the Wandering Stamper, coming back to you today to show you how to make the coolest infinity card. If you haven't seen one, it is a card that just keeps turning and turning and turning and turning into infinity. You can just keep it going. So it's a fun way to create almost a gift for someone, really. It's more than just a card. My husband was mesmerized by it when I showed him my sample because it's really hard to figure out how it works, but it just keeps going. So here is one that I made the other day. This is from Fluffiest Friends, but watch this. It just opens and opens and opens. It's really hard to do this backwards. And opens. So really cool card. I'm going to show you how to make one that's so cute and anyone will love to get. So thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to have a lot of fun making this cute little card, and I'm going to turn the camera down so we can get started. Well, I hope you're ready to wow somebody today when we make this card. This is what we're going to use today. We're going to use the sweetest By My Side cling stamp set. I love this set, and when I saw it, I'll tell you why I had to get it. This little girl and this little boy remind me so much of my granddaughter Skylar and my grandson Sawyer. She has the cutest little glasses too, and so when I saw this, I thought, oh my gosh, I have to have this to make some cards because it just makes me think of them. And I love this set because not only are there are lots of little friends in it, but it has some really sweet sayings that you can use for so many different cards. And I'll give you a little tip that I did. When you get this stamp set, this stamp with the dog and the little boy comes as one piece. And what I did, if you want, is I cut them apart because I wanted to use the little puppy independently, but I just cut it really simple so that when I go and want to use them together, I just put them side by side and then lay my block down on them so I can still get that image of them together. But I did cut those two pieces apart because for me they work a lot better. So don't be afraid to customize your stamps a little bit if they work for you. So let's go ahead and get started. We are using the Bright and Beautiful Designer Series paper. I just grabbed a whole bunch of samples or scraps to use. So this is a great card to use scraps with. So I have a variety of that. I have some Berry Burst cardstock that I used, some Whisper White, or Basic White. I always call it Whisper White because that's what it used to be called. Some Bubble Bath paper, some Asia Afternoon Blue, and everything will pull together really nicely. So I wanted to take a moment to show you that. I did a lot of cutting and prepping ahead of time, otherwise this video would be very long. So hopefully this will be much shorter and easier to follow for you. So grab your paper cutter first, and what we're going to be doing is cutting two 6x6 pieces, which I have managed to misplace. I cut them out. Where did I put them? Not sure where they are. Maybe we're cutting another piece. Ah, here they are. I cut two 6x6 pieces. So I did one in Asia Afternoon and one in Bubble Bath. So once you have the 6x6 piece, then you're going to want to score it at 1 1/4. I'm sorry, excuse me, 1 1/2. Make that 1 1/2. So it's a 6x6 square. You're going to score it at 1 1/2 and 4 1/2. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing with the other piece. You're going to score it at 1 1/2 and 4 1/2. All right, now once you have that done, go ahead and fold your two sides. And the reason why we're folding this right now is we want to make sure they don't overlap. If you didn't score exactly right and they overlap, you want to fix that because otherwise your card will not open smoothly. So that looks good. And I'm gonna, while I have my bone folder out, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a good crease. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to fold these two sides and make sure that they don't overlap each other. And then I'm going to give them a good crease. And you can even fold them the other way too, just to make sure it's nice and flexible, because this card is going to get played with quite a bit because it's so cool. So once you have that done and your sides are good, see, I'm a little concerned about this one. It's a little bit close. It's right on the edge. I think we're good though. All right, so then you're going to take your cutter again. Once you have that done, you can just have it folded and you're going to cut it in half. So it's going to be cut at 3 inches. Okay, so then you end up with 2 pieces like this, and you're going to do the exact same thing with the other piece, like so. All right, so now you have 2 pieces. You're going to have 2 pieces like this, and then you're going to have 2 pieces like this, all right? And you can put them any way you want. Now, you want a nice, strong adhesive to place on your next step. So I like the tear and tape, and we're only going to be putting tear and tape, and you could use your Stampin' Seal Plus, but if you have tear and tape, use that because it's super strong, and I just think it's the best product to use for this because it's going to get played with a lot. So the first thing I'm going to do is put it at the top on both sides, and you don't want to touch your score lines, so make sure you stay within those score lines. Okay, and then you're going to put that also on the bottom of the second piece, just the bottom. And this is so everything's going to open and turn freely, which makes this card so cool. So I'm just putting 2 pieces down here, like so. Okay, so now once you get that, grab your bone folder and just make sure it's nice and stuck down. I like to use a bone folder just because it really squishes it down good. And then I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to take this top left quadrant off. I'm going to remove the paper backing, right? And then I'm going to take my Asia Afternoon. I'm going to turn it so it's easier. And I'm just going to line these corners up perfectly, as perfect as possible, and stick it down. All right, so once you have that piece, then you're going to lay these together. Take your pick tool and take this other piece off. It's going to be easier to do the bottom now that you've got the top on there. And I'm going to make sure my pieces are level, and then I'm just going to lay that down. And if you find you didn't cut your paper you cut your paper a little too long, not a big deal. We're going to fix that in just a second, because nobody cuts perfectly all the time, right? So now I'm going to just peel these other 2 pieces of backing off, or paper off, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to peel them both off now because we've already got the left side on, so it's pretty stable. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up my corners, and I want to make sure it doesn't overlap here. So we're going to get everything lined up and then place that down. Okay? So as you can see, I've got it all on there, but I cut this a little bit too long. Not a big deal. Just get your paper cutter out and give it a little trim. There we go. So now that's perfect. All right, so we have our card base. Now, I've already decided what part I wanted the front to be. So I'm gonna make sure I'm starting with my card like this. You can start any way you want. My card's gonna be started like this. So I've already cut a lot of it because I didn't want to take all day here with you. You would get bored of me. So this is the first piece of the card, and I am going to color this one. So I stamped thinking of you today, and then I stamped this little girl who looks just like my granddaughter. I swear, it's crazy. And I grabbed some markers, that the alcohol markers that coordinate with the cardstock. So this is light balmy blue, and I'm going to color in this little bird with the light balmy blue. I love these alcohol markers. They make coloring so easy. And I'm starting out coloring all my light colors. Then we're going to go in really quick and do some shading. And then I'm going to do her hair in the light pecan pie. And I'm just going to color it in, being careful to stay in the lines. I do have the color lifter, which is great. If you use alcohol-based markers, get the color lifter, because not only will it help you get any little colors you accidentally get outside the line, but I'm going to show you how great it is for making her glasses look like they look clear when you paint it with the alcohol or with the color lifter, but it gives it just a nice little tone, so it kind of doesn't look like plain white. It's hard to describe. It makes it look more realistic. Like it's sort of shadowed, but not. I'm not sure how to explain that, but you'll see it in a moment. So that color lifter is very versatile. It fixes your boo-boos, but it also shades things that you want to look white, but not flat white. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So I am just coloring in her hair. And then I decided to make her dress a lemon lime twist. So I'm using the light shade and just coloring her in. And I like to turn my paper so I can kind of see where the tip of my marker is. All right, there we go. And then you could make her legging. You could make her have little leggings the same color if you wanted to, or I think I'm going to make her little shoes pecan pie, or you could make her barefoot. All right, and then I'm going to paint her face. This is a SU 900, Stamp It Up 900. These are skin tones. I haven't ordered all of them yet. I want to get them all because they're kind of great. Give her a little skin tone so she's not just pasty white. I eventually want to get all the skin tones so that I have them. The skin tones are also great for coloring in like some of the shades of the animals in the Furriest Friends. Works out well too. There's, I think, like 10 different shades. I love it because they didn't used to have that, and when you're coloring people, you want to be able to give them different shades because everybody's different. All right, so I'm just dabbing this on her legs and arms. So that's all of our base colors. So if you want to do any highlighting, the great thing about these little markers is there is a dark shade. So I'm going to do a little bit of dark on her hair, like that. And I'm doing this in little stages just because you want it to dry. You want the alcohol to evaporate in between. So I just do it this way so that I can give it a chance to evaporate before I finish it off. And then I'm going to do a little bit of the wings in the darker balmy blue. A little eye. Okay. So that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go back over the hair, and I'm just going to do the areas where I added the shading, and I'm just going to go back over it with the light. And what it does is just keeps you from having any harsh lines. It actually doesn't even look bad if you don't do that part, but I take the moment to do it. When I do it, I try to do it right. And then I'm going to go over her dress, and I'm just lightly going over those areas that I added the dark lemon lime twist. And once it dries. It looks really good. And then finally the bird. I'm just going to go back over and just even out that color. And again, once it evaporates a little, you'll see that shading. And then I'll show you her glasses. So I didn't do anything to her eyes, but when I paint over her glasses with the color lifter, it just makes it subtly different. And so it kind of looks like she's got glasses on. It makes it just have a little bit of a tone to it. So there she is. She's super cute. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a little sparkle because you know me, I love my Wink of Stella. So I'm going to make her dress sparkle a little bit by painting some of this clear Wink of Stella on her. And then I'm also going to dab some over her glasses because they're glass and it makes them shiny like she's got glasses on. So there we go. I know it's hard to see on the camera, but now we've got a little bit of a shimmer. So she's done. So now I'm going to take my card base. Now I layered her. These squares are 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then I layered a 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 piece of Azure Afternoon behind it to really help it pop. So you'll want to go ahead and glue that down. I'm going to use liquid glue because I want to be able to adjust it a little if I need to. I haven't been putting things on so straight the last couple of days. Ooh, almost lost my glue top. So when you use the liquid glue, you have a little tiny bit of wiggle room there. So I'm going to plop this down on there. All right. Now for this side, you could add another panel of white and write a message or whatever. I actually took a piece of the Designer Series paper and I cut a 2 3/4 by 5.5 piece and scored it down the middle, and I'm going to attach it right here. That way you can open it up and write a message. And I think this is light enough that I could just leave it just like this. Or if you wanted to, you could cut a smaller piece of white and put that inside as well to give yourself a blank canvas. So it just depends on how dark this is, whether you want to add something else to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add some glue back here. I just thought adding this little piece was kind of a nice way to add a spot to write a message. You could also just leave a panel blank too. And this is going to be considered the front of my card. You could make any of these panels the front of your card, but I decided I like this one for the front, so I wanted to put that on the very first panel. So I didn't even layer anything underneath this. I just popped it on there. So there it is. So now the other pieces that I cut are 2 pieces of Designer Series paper, and these are 1 3/4 by 1 1/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, and I didn't put any layer on it. I decided to let the Azure Afternoon pop out. And then these are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, so I cut out 4 of those. So we're going to quickly glue these, quickly as possible, glue these on with the liquid glue. You could also use your Stampin' Seal or Stampin' Seal Plus. It would be fine. I have my liquid glue out, so I'm just going to use that. And I just go around, put a little bit on each piece. So now you're just going to go around and add these layers. I love these little, look at this. I love these little bubbles. I think they're super cute. I love this paper. This paper is so, it's happy. It's just happy paper. Can a paper be happy? I think it can be happy. All right, so here we go. The great thing about this card too is you can make it as elaborate as you want or as simple as you want. It's gonna look pretty no matter what. It's just an interesting It's just an interesting card. All right, so there's our first panel. So now we're going to turn it in. Here's our second panel. So for this panel, we've already got these two pieces that pop out. Look at that. I actually cut two pieces to go on here. I don't even need those. So that worked out well. So now I've got this little piece that I stamped with some flowers, and then we're going to do some stamping here. So these flowers come from the Furriest Friends stamp set. I love these flowers, so I went ahead and put those on there from that stamp set. It's really handy to mix and match your stamps. And I've got the Asia Afternoon stamp pad, and I am going to add on this second panel the words, "Thank you for being a part of my life." So this card is going to kind of tell a story as we go. And I'm going to have to pull you out of my camera, pull this out of the camera lens for a second so I can stamp that straight. Get my head in the way. So there we go. So now these two can be glued on, and then I cut 4 of these little blue pieces to go in the corners. Now if I decide at the end I want to, I could swap these pieces out for this. We'll wait till the end and decide if we even want to do that. I always forget that happens when you fold the card. Sometimes the panels share pieces from the previous panel, so that's always handy when that works out. And if you don't use it, you can put it on another card. So as you can see, I didn't like the way I stamped that side, so I did it over again. All right, so I'm going to glue this here. As straight as possible. This is the beauty of the glue, is you can move it around for a little bit. And if you get a little glue on there, you just grab your eraser, your glue eraser, and just give it a little dab. And then our little greeting up here, like that. Make sure it's straight. And now we're going to just put some glue quickly on these 4 pieces. I love when using designer series paper for these kind of cards, because everything can color coordinate so easily. It just takes a lot of the guesswork out. I'm not really good at putting colors together. So when I get my designer series paper, I just pull cardstock based on the list of colors that's on the back of the pack. So you know what's going to match. Once in a while I'll add something else, but most of the time I stick to whatever is listed on the pack of paper and pull those colors to use in my card. It's kind of a no-brainer. So I'm just layering these pieces on here, keeping it simple. Look how pretty. And see, by using the glue, I have just a moment to adjust. All right, so that's done. So now we're going to go to the next panel. And for that panel, I have 2 friends. So I have already colored, "Nice to have you by my side," and I have our 2 friends. Look, it's my grandson and my granddaughter. And then I cut 4 more of these panels. So again, these were 1 1/4 by 2 3/4, or if you want them a little bit bigger, which is what I did here, I wanted less of the pink showing. I just went up a little size and made it 1 3/8 by 2 7/8. So you can play with the sizes that you want. So we're going to go ahead and add some liquid glue to all of these pieces, or adhesive, whatever you want. And I find that it's easier when you make this card to just work panel by panel as you go, because if you try to plan ahead and do everything ahead of time, you might find that your panels don't match up. It just depends on what panel you start on, and I had to take some time to kind of figure out for sure, okay, how is this going to open? You know, what order do I want to do these in, because I didn't want to sit and stamp and color all of these while you're watching me, because you'll get tired of sitting here watching me. It takes a little time to make this card. This is not a card that you want to make 20 of at once, because it's going to take you, I mean, you could totally do it, but it's going to take you a while to do that because there's a lot involved. So this is more of a, I need to make a special card for somebody. I'm going to make this card, and you make one and or two maybe and call it a day, because it is a little bit more time consuming than some of the other cards. But I think it's totally worth it because it's such a special card. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to play with. So as you can see, I cut this one a little too big. It's kind of bugging me, but maybe we can give it a trim. You know what? I'm just going to leave it alone. It'll be fine. All right, so there's that one. So now we have one more panel. So for this panel, I stamped and colored Life is Better with Friends Like You. And I have this little girl who's so sweet. And then 4 pieces to go in the corners. And what I did is the butterfly that's on her nose, I stamped 3 extra ones on some scrap paper and colored them in, and then just fussy cut with my scissors around them, and I glued them here, here, and here. But I added a little mini dimensional to this one, so it's kind of underneath his, kind of sitting on his nose. I thought that was super cute. And then one thing I have not done, which I'm going to do, is I'm going to add a little wink of Stella to the butterflies. And I think we're going to also add a little wink of Stella to her skirt and make it sparkly, because she's super cute. So we're going to go ahead and add some wink of Stella to these butterflies. Just like that. It just makes them, I love the sparkle, because I'm not adding a whole lot of embellishments to this because you want it to open well. You don't want to add too much because it could get caught on the card when people are turning them, and that would take the fun out of using this card. So you don't want to use too many embellishments that might get in the way. So there we go. Just adding my glue, and then I'm going to flip these 2 pieces over. I'm going to add some more glue. Just like that. And now it's just a matter of putting them all in place where you want them. It's hard to do this with my head so far from the top, but hopefully I'm getting it where it's supposed to go. Okay, I'm going to scooch this up just a little. And then we're just going to pop these onto the edges like that. So as you can see, this card is not hard to make. You just have to do a little bit of planning and decide what you want on it, and just work panel by panel and create your little masterpiece. This is a great afternoon, like rainy day afternoon card to make, because you just put some music on and just go with the flow. So let's go back to the beginning. So here is the front of our card, and then you turn it and turn it and turn it and back to the beginning. How cute is that? And I'm still kind of back and forth. Do I add this or not? I guess I'm not. It's pretty perfect. So there's our card. Thinking of you today. Hi, sweet friend, and a place to write a message. Thank you for being part of my life. It's nice to have you by my side. Life is better with friends like you. So anybody who would get this card, it would just completely make their day. So here's our card. And remember, here's that sample I showed you earlier. This is the Furriest Friends stamp set. It's an online exclusive set. It's so, so cute, and the dies that come with it are so cute. So definitely get the bundle so you have those dies. But this little bear, I've got some Wink of Stella with his honey pot. I added some Wink of Stella to his little bees to make them sparkle, and of course his hive. And the dies cut out all of the leaves and the sticks. He is popped up with some mini dimensionals. And then when you open him up, there's his little friends. You're my everything. And all of these little animals are just fun to color. For always believing in me. And I added some Wink of Stella and popped up the little silver balloon. Added some butterflies and flowers. And then love this little beaver. He's got his little pile of sticks down here and his little heart-shaped sticks here. And it says, love you from the bottom of my heart. So as you can see, you can have a lot of fun with these infinity cards. And it's not as hard as it seems. And the people who get it just want to play with it because they're trying to figure out how it works. So I hope you enjoyed this video and get a chance to make this infinity card. Be creative with it. Have a lot of fun with it. If you like this video, please give me some love, and don't forget to subscribe so that you get all of the reminders to my videos that I put out on Wednesdays. Also, click on my link below. It will take you to my website, which has my blog page that will give you all of the cutting instructions and measurements for these cards, as well as a link to my online store where you can purchase any of the products that you see here. I love to hear all of your comments, so please send me a note if you've gotten a chance to make this card. I'd love to know how you used it. Again, I'm Jill the Wandering Stamper, and I appreciate the time you took to watch this video, and I will see you again soon. Have a great day.